What is up, guys? What is up? My name is Jackal, and welcome back. We're here for some Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, and we're also here for some Bojack Horseman discussarinos. Now, you're going to notice my voice is being pretty quiet today compared to most videos. That is because I'm actually gaming indoors at almost 3 o'clock in the morning right now. So we're having to be a little quieter than normal. But, we got the microphone close to us, so hopefully the audio in this isn't shite. But I guess we'll see when we get to it. But as always, guys, if retro games are your dealio, make sure you guys subscribe. Subscribe, or all the monsters in this dungeon are gonna get it. Okay. Oh yeah, I remember what I had done. I had cleared all the way up to, like, a door that looked really important. And now I wanted to go back and slaughter the rest of the enemies that needed slaughtering. Oh wait. Is that what I did? Now I can't remember. But we'll be fine. Yeah, I was feeling super tired, and honestly, I just don't feel like relocating out to my car or anything right now. So I figured, you know what? I tested out the audio enough. Jesus Christ, I almost killed myself with that. Come on. There we go. But yeah, no, I just wanted to play inside. I was like, you know what? I'll just talk a little quieter today. I tested it out. Everything seemed all good. And if it's not, well, I guess we'll figure it out real soon. I'll just put in the description that the audio in this is fucked. Don't watch. But with my luck, telling everybody don't watch is what'll get them to watch. Well, everyone as in, my audience size, relatively speaking. Sucks right now. I haven't actually uploaded any of the other 2 videos that I've made because right now we don't have internet in the house. And I could just use my data. I don't really use a whole lot of, like, data since most of my internet usage is here at the house. But yeah, we'll count today as the dreaded, long time coming season finale of episode 6 of Bojack Horseman. It's not really. It's episode 12, but it's close enough to what I consider to be a season finale with the way the show tends to go. And one thing that I am calling at this point is I for real, I think Judah and Princess Carolyn are gonna get together, like, for real. I don't know, man. Like, I've always liked Judah. I always thought he was really cool. But when he volunteered to watch Ruthie, and after the end of the episode, everything was said and done, and Princess Carolyn goes home, Judah just sees her, like, and they just chill on the couch with each other while she just relaxes. And he does his work. So it's just one of those things where it's like, I ship these 2. I don't know if I've ever said that I ship them before, but I definitely do now. Bro. This dude is being relentless. Just non-stop murdering. I didn't want to use another life spell. That's one thing I hate that this game does. But yeah, no, this episode was rough. I mean, that was something that, I just kind of noticed and wanted to make sure I said, because things like that I tend to forget. But no, this episode was hard to watch. There was a time period. Okay. Alright, cool. This actually kind of worked out. Actually, if you could just kill that guy, that'd help me. Sweet. But yeah, no, the episode was rough, because, like, you could see Bojack. Like, one of the things that hurt me the most, that, like, made the episode almost unbearable to watch, was hearing Bojack during the interview revert to a lot of his really old, like, toxic behaviors. Like, the way that he tried to throw Sharona under the bus for some of these details with Sarah Lynn getting leaked. Even though, he tried to blame her. Like, oh, well, Sharona, she's a drunk, you can't listen to what she says. Like, bro, that's some lady that, like, from your AA meetings that, like, you just threw under the bus, like, hardcore like that. Which was pretty shitty behavior. But, that's it. Like, this moment brought out a bit of old Bojack in a really tragic way. Like, listening to him get defensive, listening to the way that he was acting, really brought me back to, like, the days of old Bojack. And I mean, realistically, like, it's been months since I've seen, like, the old Bojack, for me, because I watch, one episode a week. I'll watch the episode multiple times, and by the end of it, it's, that's a week an episode at the end of it. And then there's the week I take off in between. And then between season 5 and 6, I ended up taking quite a few more weeks off, just because I wanted to binge season 5 the way I had binged the other seasons. And it just wasn't falling into the cards. So I waited until I was able to do that. So I haven't seen, like, this side of Bojack, like, truly this side of Bojack, in months. And it sucks to have him back. I don't want this Bojack back. I want the Bojack that we've, that's kind of figured out a little bit more in his life and how he wants to be as a person. And unfortunately, he just, it's not like he didn't have it. He had it, and then, all this stuff kind of blew over, and he isn't handling every moment of it like the new self of his. There's a lot of it that's, a lot of old Bojack coming back in to nuzzle his head. Excuse me, what the fuck is this? That's so weird. Like, legit nothing in there? Like, alright, bro, cool. But, the worst part is that, like, the whole interview with Bojack and, what is her name? Bridget Braxby, whatever her name is, the chinchilla lady. A big problem is that, and I remember saying this at other points, but it seemed like a lot of the events that came up with this, a lot of the issues that were coming up and being brought up to Bojack as, like, examples of his misdoings, in his past, there was a lot of the stuff that they were saying that honestly was only even like half true. But, you know, it just paints such a bad picture that, like, bro, nobody would believe, like, I wouldn't believe Bojack was a motherfucker if I didn't see what was going on, like, through his character's, like, actual story. How do I melt those again? Do I melt those? I don't think I melt those. Pink Ninja. But, you know, they brought up, you know, the fact that Bojack was dating Princess Carolyn, you know, dating one of his agents, which admittedly isn't one of the healthiest things. And, you know, Bojack says, you know, oh, you know, she's really good at separating her two lives from each other, her work. And but we all know that part of Princess Carolyn's downfall is that she's actually very much not good at doing that. In fact, I would also play this on the opposite end. There were a lot of moments that Bojack was averted from the help he needed because too often Princess Carolyn would talk to him like an agent and like a work partner and not somebody who's like a life partner or even like a friend. You know, there were numerous moments, like teachable and trainable moments for Bojack that went by under the radar because, you know, she told Bojack what he needed to hear as a client, first and foremost, and not really as like a friend. And, you know, that doesn't excuse Bojack's inability to make correct decisions either. But, you know, we all know that we're influenced by the people around us, and we do things that are often like almost at the behest of like what other people want us to do or like guide us to do. Especially because, you know, not everybody does have like their shit lined up and know what to do. Especially a person who's as fucking shaky as Bojack is. You know, he doesn't have that in him worth a motherfucker at all. And I know there's times where I would even say, like, through watching the episode, and I would say it in my breakdowns and discussions of it, where I would sit there and be like, this was a moment where Princess Carolyn failed Bojack. So, I mean, there's definitely, like, power dynamics that were indeed there because of Bojack's wealth, yes, but there was also a lot that Princess Carolyn held over Bojack in the way that he looked up to her. And societally, that's not as big of a power dynamic, and, you know, that's what they're trying to pin him against. And that's not necessarily wrong when you have, you know, Bojack going out here and taking an underage girl to prom. And again, something that act isn't at all what the problem was with the whole New Mexico thing. Like, we saw New Mexico. We know that was not the problem, was that he took a minor to a prom. Because there's media and like plenty of other things where we've heard about stuff like that happen. It's the manner in which it was done. That's what really makes the difference there. But they only use that in a way to like bolster like the power dynamic difference, and it sucks because like the thing that he's actually being grilled for, right, like in this interview, wasn't necessarily like it was about Sarah Lynn. Like, it was. I'm not saying it wasn't, but they weren't really focusing so much on that as they were the patterns of Bojack with younger, more vulnerable women. And the part that sucks is like, yeah, where there's smoke, there's fire, and it's not like Bojack doesn't deserve a couple of furrowed brows for a lot of this behavior. But like the whole, like, again, the New Mexico thing, like, that wasn't the problem with New Mexico. The problem with New Mexico is that he almost slept with a minor. But what's being focused on is something else. And like, we know the way media works. Like, unless like another expose were to come out of like, that's not going to get picked up on in the way that the story is presenting itself. Because his specific misdeeds aren't even being what's accounted for. It's more like trying to highlight the patternistic behavior that he engages in. Of course, those coughs were going to be like the loudest things that I've done the whole video. Alright. My gamepad here is messing up. A little more than I want it to be. Hit red chickie. Oh, I thought I was turned to stone with that one. But a big problem is though, in this universe, like, when all of these events are laid out, and they're not, even though they're not totally true, they're also not totally false. So it's like, what obligation does anybody have to, like, take Bojack at his word about any of these events? And I think, like, the way that he kind of, like, at the end, when it shows at the end, when Diane's watching the interview, when she's saying, like, does this sound like the kind of person you are? Somebody who just takes advantage of women? And, like, she worded it in a much more cohesive way than I did, but she's like, does this sound like you? And, you know, one of the things that Diane had said that was like, oh, you know, I did those things, but I'm not that person, and that's not me, and, like, kind of ridiculed Bojack's typical responses to things. And instead, he kind of, you know, proved her wrong by, you know, when being asked at the very end, you know, is this you? And he admitted, he's like, yes, it is. And that is one of those moments that makes you sit there and be like, you know, damn, our boy really has grown. And the big problem is just the fact that, you know, he's just has so much baggage following him through his life. Alright, there's still a whole nother wing of this area I gotta do. It feels like, this actually feels like a mazy dungeon. But the good thing is that, you know, I do not mind random encounters in games. But, you know, to not have them is also quite nice. And to have them not respawn either, also quite righteous. Oh, wait, no, I gotta up and around real quick. But, you know, the worst part, and, you know, Princess Carolyn called it at the end, you know, Bojack did one interview, and it went well. And that was a moment that he should have just taken his W and walked away from everything. And he would have been fine. But he had to go back. Like, and you could hear it the way that after Bojack was like, oh, I nailed it. Didn't I nail that? Like, you could hear it in his voice that he was getting sucked back into something. And, you know, whether it's his own ego or it's, you know, he talks about his whole life being a performance. And, like, one of the things that rang for me is back in the very beginning of the show, when his mom basically said, you know, like, his mom basically said something about, like, you'll perform and nobody cares about what you think. You got an audience, right? You have an audience, don't you? Like, something, she said something to that effect. And it's like, it shows that like, he has a hard time just not playing this part. You know, he has a chance to actually, like, for real, walk away. And he can't do it. The moment he gets a taste, he's right back in. And he's back in making the same stupid decisions. You know, a simple one, like the simple one decision is what ruined everything for him. And it didn't need to. And Princess Carolyn told him he should have gone back to Connecticut. And it really is that simple. He should have gone the fuck home. He did what he needed. He said his piece. He looked really good after it. Because even though it was a bit of bullshit, like, his idea of, like, a Xerox of a Xerox, like, we understand the person that Bojack was and where he came from. I guess multiple the persons he was. Alright, real quick. This is the entrance, right? Yeah, see? See? This is why we did that. This is why we did that. This is why we did that. Okay, so that dropped me here, which drops me back at the... So it really makes it feel like it's on a volcano that, like, wraps around on itself. Okay, that's pretty cool. But, you know, unfortunately, a lot of these decisions and a lot of these things that Bojack is being confronted with is a lot of shit that he fucking deserves. I don't know if he deserves it in this way, as in, like, I would like it if, because this is like a journalist thing. This isn't like this isn't a legal case. So it's like, you know, he almost leaves with a minor, that's not what he's going to get in trouble for. You know, he took part in the overdosing of Sarah Lynn, and now we find out that he fucking lied the entire time about, you know, I mean, we found, you know, with finding out that he waited for 17 minutes before calling the police, and knowing that that time is what actually pretty much what killed Sarah Lynn. Like, but like, because of the nature of these, like, kind of crimes and, like, the way it's being, I don't think this is gonna add up to any, like, criminal shit for him. Like, I don't think it's gonna result in anything criminal at all. I think it's just going to, it's gonna tank his career, that's for sure. Like, he's, you know, he had his he even was able to keep his job and everything. And something tells me that when his sister sees that, all that shit, she's not gonna be fucking happy about it. In the sense that, like, his sister, you know, had been saying a few things, like, clearly indicating that, like, she found, like, Bojack's behavior with him trying to be friendly with students, like, she's taking it as, like, oh, Bojack wants to be friendly with all these young girls, because she had heard the story from Pete Repeat. And it's like, damn, you know, that's something, again, that It's not true, but the way that he's allowed everything to happen, you know, like, is anybody obligated to give him that sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, that much of a benefit of the doubt. And I mean, you might be inclined to say, oh, well, his sister should. I mean, she's his sister biologically. But, like, they're not really siblings in that way. Like, they've been friendly with each other, but they don't have enough of a relationship with each other. Like, I just know that I saw her holding, like, a feminist book. So I feel like this is going to play into that. Which I don't know what kind of argument the two of them are going to have about all this. I don't even know if he's going to try to contact her, honestly. But, like, that's the one, like, tether that he's got to really anything left is his sister. And it sucks because, like Princess Carolyn said, it didn't have to be this way. He could have taken his W and left, but Bojack just couldn't leave it alone. He just had to do more. Had to have more. You know, it actually, I remember, I've said this multiple times, and now I feel like I am, like, more than vindicated in saying this. I don't think there's a version of Bojack that, with his past and the way he was raised and how he was brought up, I do not think there's a world where that we can live in where Bojack both remains in Hollywood and stays on the correct path. Like, the moment there got to be just a piece of, like, an audience and being in front of people, Bojack went right back to being the way that he was. You know, when he was trying to live a life here behind the scenes, nice and quiet, you know, nothing happened. Everything stayed nice and cool. Everything stayed smooth, as it should. But how did the song go? Don't stop dancing. Alright, what was the song that he was listening to in that fever dream? I think it was Don't Stop Dancing. I could have sworn that what she was singing. Alright, I should have most of these enemies cleared out at this point. At this point, it'll be basically only going through that, really. And I don't think that was any better, or I think that was actually a little worse. But yeah, no, the moment Bojack gets like a whiff of that media, that camera, he literally turns into a different fucking person. And I think that's what drove him to, like, not want to put it down once he got back in front of a camera. This shit is like a literal fucking drug to him. Oh, it's so fucking tragic. And the thing is, you know, I've always been told to handle the last 4 episodes like an OVA, and, you know, think of them as like its own 4-episode ending. And, like, bro, I don't even know what's gonna happen with that. I don't even know how it's gonna go. Just thinking about it makes me fucking nervous. Bro, there's still so many enemies here. I mean, probably not anymore, but like, from what I was thinking there was. I forgot I had to fight those enemies that I killed off that, the first time I walked in here. Killed a whole bunch of enemies and then left not realizing that was the exit. And I didn't want to refight battles. But that should be it. Alright, let's just take a walk back over to the other side. Make sure right quick that it is. Yep. I definitely know I killed monsters in here. I think this is where I want to go. Right? No. There was just treasure in here. Definitely don't go the fuck up there. Save just in case. Okay. No, it's got to be this way, somewhere. Right? Some sick bass lines. I was wrong. This was an area that I wanted to go to, I believe. Epic jumps. Here we go. Oh, wait, no. No, I'm wrong. I'm gonna have a hard time finding my way back. Oh no. At least the song's epic. Alright, this looks promising. Ooh, that's a bummer. But yeah, next week I'm going to do a redo discussion of, I think it's episode 6, because I had an audio malfunction happen in that video. So a good portion of that discussion gets chopped off. And we can't have that. So we'll just do a little redo. Alright, I'm getting really sick of not being able to find this place. This feels like it. But yeah, it's nice. I mean, you heard a small little phone call of pickles and peanut butter officially being done. That's not a surprise. Saying Todd with a girlfriend is real nice. Also the fact that when they say, like, I have an idea, and they both come up with, like, salty flavored ballsticles or whatever the fuck, like, they come up with, like, random shit with each other, like, they're perfectly made for each other. Maud, or whatever her name is. She's pretty fucking funny, though. Okay, yeah, this was the... Now there's going to be another one of those coming up, right? Yeah. Yes. Yes. I bet you when I turn my phone off of Do Not Disturb, I'm going to have an angry text message from the woman asking me why I'm not in bed yet. To which the response will be, fuck you, you're not my woman. Actually, you are. Holla, bye, be right there. Here we go. No. Fuck you, game. That area looked like it would be it. It looked so important and so cool. But it's this side. This way. Here we are, the Door of Flames. Oh god, there's still more enemies. Alright, well, that's going to be it for the day, guys. We've gone long enough, we've come far enough. Next time, we free the fire crystal. And then, after that, the world. Actually, after that, we'll only have one more. And at that point, it will actually be a real blind play for me at that point. Because I will have never gotten that far. So, I guess I'll see it next time. Till then, y'all.